What is up, guys? It is not the end of the month. It is July 1st, I guess technically at the time that I'm filming this video, but we still have a Winnabox finals for you here. We've got the finals for Winnabox number 11. This time around, 41 players came out to compete. I think it took the full month. We are now into July. It started June 3rd. We are now into July at the time we're finishing this Winnabox. But it all culminated with the finals here. We've got Maverick in the bottom. We've got Conic at the top. Now, thinking about it, Maverick, I know, has topped a couple of events, but I don't think he's ever made it out of the first round. So he's in the finals now, and he's running a very interesting deck. Conic, I don't think I've ever seen top at least a Speed Duel League event. I do recognize the name. I do know he's been around. But I don't think he's topped any events. So he's in the finals now, too, running a not so interesting deck. But I still think that this will be an interesting match. So let's get into it. They're going to open up here with the rock, paper, scissors. Probably the most important part of the match. Most skillful, at least, for sure. Wishing each other good luck. And there we go. We've got Maverick taking down Conic's paper. Bit of a misplay from Conic, leading there with the scissors, knowing that Maverick has access to the rock. But Mav is going to get to decide if he wants to go first or second. The decks, we've got Conic in the top, rocking 21 card Dark Moth. And we've got Maverick in the bottom, 25 card Stego Moth. That is going to be Black Stego with Zombinas and Haunted Shrines. And Giant Rats, Zomas, Nightmare Wheels, and then of course the Moth package. So Mav elects to take second here. I don't know if he knew Conic was playing Dark Moth coming into the event or not, but he's going to take second. Conic leads off with a lure. Totally fine. Usually we see Dark Moth do nothing on their first turn. They usually don't have much to do on their first turn. Conic can decide what he wants to banish off of this lure. Banishes the breaker, sets another monster. What could Dark Moth set? They can set Decoition, they can set Eudoria, they can set... I don't know, I guess if they wanted to troll, they could set like a Paranoid if they open 3 of them. Might as well set one, have it die, put it back, and draw. But Maverick gonna go ahead and set a monster plus 2 back row. Definitely more. Maverick's build is a little bit more of a stall build, so it makes sense. Blind Cosmic coming in. What are we hitting? A Haunted Shrine that at the time was dead, so not exactly worth it, but it does banish it, so it's gone. Night Beam comes down. Hits the Zoma. Will we see Santa Claus come down into a Paranoid? Flip up a Nidoria? We will see the flip up Nidoria, but we won't see the Santa Claus come down with a Paranoid. Nidoria's going to swing in the Giant Rat. Giant Rat is bigger than Nidoria. So Conic going to be taking some chip damage there. I think most of the monsters that Mav runs are going to be bigger than the Nidoria. Paranoid comes down. Cyclone stops that. That could have been dangerous. I don't know what one card Conic had in his hand, but that could have been lethal. Conic needs to take the 1000 from his Cyclone there. I don't think he took it, right? He had 2 Cyclones? Yeah. Oh, Mav said it, okay. So he's at 1750. Is that a break point for anything? I don't think, I guess a breaker getting in? I guess a Zoma, that could be a break point. If Zoma gets in, it will be lethal now. But, I played a lot of Dark Moth over the Extravaganza this weekend, the NA Extravaganza, and too many Cyclones was definitely a problem. If you ran like 3, the life points, losing so many life points definitely was a bit of a problem. So interesting, Mav has a monster, but he's gonna set it. I guess if he swings in the Nidoria, it will pop whatever the monster is. So he set a Swordswoman. Was that a mistake? I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. Nidoria would have popped whatever game would have been, but he could have decided if he wanted to end on a Swordswoman or a Rat. Conic allures and does not have a dark target, so he is going to have to banish his entire, sorry, not banish, send his entire hand to the graveyard, but he does still at least get to put back the Paranoid that was in his hand and draw. What a fantastic hand, too. Santa Claus, Moth, and he had a Paranoid. If he just had a dark, That would have been a fantastic. And if the Santa Claus was perhaps a Paranoid, that would have been a fantastic hand for Conic there. But no Dark. Allure of Darkness betrays him. Top decks a Breaker. If he top decked a Paranoid, I think that would have been game. Maverick sounds like he didn't want that to be a Paranoid, but it is a Breaker. Mav is going to get to float into something here. Now targets, we know Amazon Swordswoman isn't in the deck. This deck has Zombina, it has Black Stego, it has, I believe, Exiled Force, and then I don't think this can go into, oh it can go into another Giant Rat if he wanted to. But we'll see what he wants to go for. And it can go into the Swordswoman, but he's going into the Exiled Force, so he could have gone into Stego and sat in defense, but he's going to go to the Exiled Force, which will allow him to tribute and pop the Breaker. So he's playing around Conic possibly top decking a Paranoid. Let's see if he does. No, he top decked the Breaker. So Stego could have possibly, and he's got the pop here. What is he popping? In Offerings, Mav could have. Did he chain it? Okay, he did chain it. Doesn't get to draw though. Conic top decks into the Paranoid. Now if he Paranoided, it would have been close to lethal. So I think XL Force ended up being the right play. But Conic did see a Paranoid here. He sees two Paranoid. Oh boy. He saw two Paranoid. So he's going to Paranoid, get out the Moth. Paranoid his Paranoid into a Moth. Does not get to shuffle back Paranoid. He already did that. Mav, that would have been lethal, but Mav does have the Sphere Karibo. And now how is Mav going to get around this Moth? Conic drawing again, doesn't do anything with it though. A second Offerings, there you go. People have to skip his draw phase, so let's just back over to Conic. Conic's been sitting on this one card forever. I feel like that probably means it's a Moth or something. Something dead, obviously. Down comes Zombina though. Conic doesn't have either part of his skill left. So he is just drawing into monsters, and Zombina is a fantastic one to see because it will float into a Giant Rat who will float and float and float. I think that this is all but wrapped up for Mav here, with Conic being completely spent on his Moths, completely spent on his Breakers. He does still want to fight. He will Sphere the 1400. It wasn't lethal. He will Sphere it. Sets a back row. What could he be setting? Midoriya comes in. This is lethal. So, just kind of chilling, I guess. just refusing to go down without at least a little bit of a fight there. Sides are coming in though. What could Conic be? Conic is most likely siding anti-set cards like Nobleman or perhaps another Santa Claus, maybe a Lava Golem. Mav's deck is jank, so I ain't got a clue what he's siding. Mav sides whatever he wants to side. Mav sides whatever he wants to side. Maybe some anti-Moth cards, Waking, Cosmic. I do have Mav's list. I know that I don't think he has those. I think he has one Cyclone in his entire deck, so we'll see what else he wanted to side in, but Cycles come down. Conic will be going second this time. This is a T-set and pass. That's no good versus Dark Moth. Does Conic have the blowout? Will he sack here? Game 2. Does he see Santa Claus? Or there, you pop that. So that's his one Cyclone too. Gone. I think he has one. He might have two. I just know he doesn't have three. But Breakers are going to come down. Now we can see the Santa Claus come down plus a Paranoid. That would be game, but Conic doesn't have it. He's setting back row and going into the battle phase. Midoriya comes in and pops the Breaker. And just right back into another set monster. Nothing else to set here, though. Down comes Midoriya. Again, I don't think there's any... Outside of another Midoriya, I don't think there's anything that this Midoriya can get. Or an Exiled Force, I guess. He could set that, too. Other than that, I don't think he would set an Exiled Force, though. I think he'd just take a direct hit and summon the Exiled Force the next turn and pop Midoriya. Down comes Paranoid. 2 back row, though, with Conic means, yep, there's the Cyclone. Very, very likely to have it. That is the second time that Mav sees his Paranoid banished. One of the most punishing cards you can play on Moth is the Cyclone. Banishing the Paranoid, don't even get to shuffle it back, it's just gone. I think Mav drew that for turn. The Paranoid, I think he drew it for turn. Otherwise, if you were a Moth player and you had the Paranoid in it, you should have seen these two back row, you should have put the Paranoid down in the end phase so that if something happens to it and you draw another one, you can at least activate it. I just accidentally put my mouse cursor over this face down so we know that it's offerings, but I don't think you guys probably mind it. Let me know if you guys want to, because usually I try and spectate these games from, I guess, like a blind perspective. We don't know what's going on, but if you guys want to see their hands or anything like that, it could be a little bit more educational, I guess, seeing what they're setting, you know, what their opening hands are and whatnot. DD Crow. Did we just see DD Crow come down? Okay, so he attacks. Mav swung with the Zombina to hit the Nidoria and end the battle. So banishes Mav's Nidoria, so that Zombina will die, not get to bring anything back. Mav setting 2, we do know that 1 is an offerings. Conic sets 2 as well. I feel like the longer the game goes on, maybe the worse it gets for Dark Moth. I mean, if it can just keep pooling resources, it can recover. So we'll see how long Conix is able to just like draw and not really face any pressure from Mav. So Conic can draw into the necessary pieces, and he can just continue get an OTK and just continue until he gets the pieces for the OTK. And then it's almost kind of like the first turn of the duel where he ends up with, you know, he's already 3 cards in his hand, he starts with 4. So if he can keep pooling cards in his hand, he will eventually have the combo to go for game. Breaker comes down. Activates his effect. What'll we target? The one closest to the deck. Zoma. Ouch. Though Conic still has 2 back rows, so it's possible he had a Cyclone that could have dealt with the Zoma anyway, so maybe not the best hit for Conic. But swings over the rats, searches into Exiled Force. We saw this last game. Mav most likely going to tribute off the Exiled Force to pop the Breaker. Doesn't want to deal with a Paranoid coming down. That's one of these is Giant Rat floats into a monster that's face up. That's most likely why Mav is not going into Stego ever, because he doesn't want to leave a face up monster on the field for Conic to put the Paranoid on. Conic's thinking still in the battle step. Okay, and then I don't know what he was thinking about. But here goes Mav. We'll see what he wants to do with this Exile Force. I'm guessing he's going to tribute it. Tribute it to pop the Breaker, leave no face-up monster on the field. Conic thinking about something? What is he thinking about? Viewing his graveyard, viewing his extra deck. Which he only has 3 cards in. I'm just now seeing this in his 3-card extra deck. I don't know what he's thinking about. Lost? Oh no! So, Lost One will not do anything here. Because the Exile Force is already in the grave whenever he activates. Yep. So Mav knows, tributes for... basically, the Exiled... In order to activate the Exiled Force's effect, you have to send him to the grave. So Exile Force is immediately in the grave, then his effect activates, then you can chain Lost Wind, but Lost Wind needs to target a face-up monster, and Exile Force is not face-up on the field anymore. I think Conic was thinking about this last turn, that's why he kind of waited in the battle phase. He needed to Lost Wind the Exiled Force last turn, which I think he was thinking about, so Conic probably thinks he misplayed here, is he needed to Lost Wind before Mav activated, because then Exiled Force would be on the field. It can still activate its effect, it can still tribute itself and send itself to the graveyard, but because the effect will resolve where it activated on the field, the Lost Wind will negate the Exiled Force. So, Conic misordered it. He could have Lost Winded in the battle phase, he could have Lost Winded on his end phase, he could have Lost Winded on Mav's draw phase, on Mav's standby phase. But he didn't, and he chained it to the Exiled Force, and that is the one scenario where it doesn't work. So, and Conic thought about it. He thought about it in the battle phase. He could have done it last turn. I think maybe he set the Lost Wind that turn. If he did, then he could have done it in Mav's draw phase or standby phase, but he didn't. He waited for Mav to activate the effect, and that is when Lost Wind won't work. He did still leave it in the graveyard, though. Is he going to go get it? Okay, he went to go get it. Okay. So that gets to stay. Unfortunately, Mav now does know that he has the Lost Wind. So, yeah, misplay there. He needed to, Conic misplay there and needed to Lost Wind it. And that might have, Conic would have at least gotten to keep his breaker here. So, and then he could have swung over the Exiled Force. So Conic would still have a breaker here with that misplay, but we'll see if it matters. 2 back row. Not good. Not what you want to see playing Dark Moth unless you've got a Lava Golem. Because these could be anything. He is going to Offerings that. Okay, so Breaker comes down, activates his effect. That is going to chain the Offerings. He will have to skip his draw phase. He was going to lose the Offerings anyway, I guess. Pop into 1600, whatever. Probably would rather not have to use it on a Breaker, but didn't really have a choice. And they have almost mirrored their fields. 2 sets, 1 set, 2 monsters, 1 monster. Conic's still setting. I wonder what he set. He set his own Paranoid and tributes it for a Jinzo. I guess that makes sense. Is Moth players can run Monarchs in stall matchups where if your opponent is just setting a bunch of monsters and not really pushing you, you have time to set a Paranoid for the turn. Go to your opponent. He's not going to swing over the Paranoid because he's playing, you know, sort of a stall style. It goes back to you, and you're able to tribute off that Paranoid for something. In this case, a Jinzo. It could be a Gap. It could be a Hadez. Whatever Monarch you want, and that could be pretty beneficial. And then he can also put this Paranoid back into the deck if he wanted to and draw, kind of making up for the -1 that summoning a Monarch usually is, where you just lose your monster to turn it into another monster. You kind of lose a card on your field. But if you get to put that monster back into the deck and draw, that's kind of nice. So definitely something to think about as a Dark Moth player, what you want your side to be. You can put Monarchs in there if you're in stall sort of matchup. So Mav is going to Offerings the Jinzo on the battle phase, but Conic is going to chain a Parasite Paranoid, which means it's going to attach to the Jinzo. The Jinzo gets popped by the Offerings. Paranoid goes to the grave and summons the Moth from the hand. We will get to see what Mav Offerings twice to protect that Zombina. So, and here it is. We see Mav go for the Exiled Force. Now, hopefully Conic here, we still know that Conic, this is Lost Wind. He still has it set, and Conic needs to know to Lost Wind. Now, Lost Wind, do not wait for Mav to draw and then activate Exiled Force. You can't stop it then. There we go. Okay, so he Lost Winds. Good. He learned. He knows now. Mav giving him a thumbs up. So that Exiled Force is now negated. Unless it gets booked or something. If it gets booked face down, the Lost Winds lingering effect is removed from the Exiled Force, and then it can activate. But here, if he activates, so Mav did activate the Exiled Force. That wasn't an attack. That was Mav's turn. He did, I think, activate the Exiled Force. And then its effect is negated. I know how its effect is negated. Okay, so yeah, and that's just, Mav can activate the Exiled Force effect, which again, in order to activate it, he has to pay the cost of sending the Exiled Force to the graveyard. Then that'll cause the effect to activate, but because it activated on the field, it resolves on the field, and Lost Wind can negate it. If it activated in the graveyard, which it doesn't, but if it did, Lost Wind couldn't negate it. And I guess that's just Mav not wanting to get paranoided here, so he doesn't want to face a monster. Moth is going to swing. There's another Zombina. So these two were Zombinas the entire time that Mav was Offerings to protect them. He Offerings a Breaker and Offerings a Jinzo. It's going to get back another Exiled Force. Will we see Conic with a second Lost Wind? This Exiled Force is totally fine. It's live. On Mav's turn, he can tribute it to pop this Moth. Conic still hasn't used, neither players have used their skill. I believe Mav tried, yeah, and got his Paranoid Cyclone. Conic can put back a Paranoid here. It's kind of interesting that he's not, or has it. He's got 2 in the grave here that he's just kind of chilling on. Maybe he has a dead Moth in hand. There's his 3rd Paranoid, so there's the Exiled Force. Okay, so he had another Moth in his hand. That's going to give him another Moth that Mav is going to have to deal with. Mav is full life, though. Moth's getting a little low on cards. Here comes the skill, putting back a Paranoid and drawing. The skill is completely dead at this point. He's got all 3 Parasites and the Grave. I guess if he had like a Man-Eater bug, he could special something. I don't think he has any insects left in the deck to special summon if he sees the Paranoid. But down comes Sphere. This is over to Maverick. Maverick is in a tough spot. He needs to. I think he's been holding on to a dead card for quite a long time. It might be a Moth. Sets a card that's going to get Cosmic, and that's most likely going to be game. Let's see if Conic sees another. Unless he has another Sphere, he doesn't. He missed defeat, so don't know what the card. It might have been a dead Moth. More than likely. But game 3, always like it whenever final goes to a game 3. We'll see if they decide to change anything with their sides. They are taking a little bit of time, so maybe they're thinking about what they want to side in and out. Mav is running Stego Moth. He has a black Stego in his deck. His team always circle jerks black Stego, and yet he has not summoned it. I wonder if he sides it out for the matchup, doesn't want to leave a face up. But he has not unleashed the Stego either game. Conic revealed he does have Jinzo. Interesting Monarch. I don't know. I don't know if I would want Jinzo or Gap or Dark Ruler Hadez or like, I don't know, Grandmark, Dark Red Enchanter. There's a lot of Monarchs that all do different things. Conic is going to be forced to go first there, sense too. Passes his turn. I'm not used to Dark Moth doing anything on the first turn, so these are most likely Cyclones from what we've seen. These can be anything from Mav. They can be Offerings, Dead Haunted Shrines, his own Cyclone. What else have we seen? Zoma, that could be one that he hits here. He hits the Cyclone. I believe, again, I'm pretty sure that's Mav's only Cyclone. And it's been psyched twice here early on by Conic. There's a very, very powerful card in the Moth matchup, and Moth keeps losing it. But we'll see if he can recover. 5v5 and card advantage. Down comes Nidoria. Again, very few things you can swing over outside of another Nidoria. There you go. So that will pop. This, is Conic activating Paranoid? No. I'll give him the thumbs up, Mav. You can't activate. No. You can't. So right now we're in the damage step. You can't. I hope Mav doesn't let this go. Is this really going to happen in the final? Okay, never mind. Mav noticed. So they're in the damage. Whenever monsters are being destroyed by battle, you're in the and sent to the graveyard. You're in the damage step. And very, very specific cards can only activate in the damage step. And Paranoid is not one of those specific cards. So he cannot do this play of attaching Paranoid to the Nidoria. If he wanted to do that play, he needed to put the Paranoid onto his Nidoria in the battle step when he attacked Mav's Nidoria. And it still would work because Nidoria is a mandatory effect. Mav has to pop Conic's Nidoria. He doesn't have a choice. You were just saying words. But yeah, it is the end of the damage step, is what Conic's saying, but that's still the damage step. It's the end of it. It's the very end of it. After that phase, you go back to the start of the battle step. Or sorry, not the start of the battle phase, but the start of the battle step where you can declare attacks and whatnot. So, end of damage step is still the damage step. It's the end of it. We're posting Yugipedia links. Yeah, so Conic knows. I think now he can't do that. So it's just both monsters. Nidoria kills the Nidoria. Nidoria kills Nidoria, and then that Nidoria kills that Nidoria. And Mav just definitely heavily focusing on not having any face-up monsters and just constantly setting to not let Conic get down the Moth. But Conic's been getting down the Moth, and we have not actually seen Moth from Mav yet. He hasn't summoned one yet. I think it's been Cyclone. Both times he's been down the Paranoid, it gets Cycloned. Here comes Santa Claus. Well, here comes Santa Claus. Oh my god. So Zombina is gone. It could have revived the Nidoria if it was destroyed, but it's gone. It gets Santa Claused. Mav with 3 back row, though. We'll see what Conic wants to do if he wants to bring down the Paranoid. We know he has one, and we know he has a Moth in hand. Blind Cyclone. Hits a Zoma. I think that's a solid hit. Perhaps there's the Paranoid onto the Santa, and he's going to Offerings the Santa. So, Mav will have to skip his fate, and here comes, Connick's going to put back the Paranoid. The Paranoid will go out of the hand because the target was no longer there. If you're playing in the NA Extravaganza, it will stay in the hand. That is, however, the incorrect ruling. If the target of Parasite Paranoid is flip face down, or it leaves the field before Paranoid resolves, Paranoid will go to the grave. That is the correct ruling. But Mav has to skip his draw phase here, and Connick is just going to put the Paranoid back in and draw. So we had a 5v5 in card advantage. Now Connick is up a card. We got the 4 cards versus the 3 cards on this side. But Connick has used one part of his skill. Connick sets to, again, more than likely, a Cyclone. That is most of what Moth sets. So Mav most likely going to have to play through another Cosmic Cyclone. He hasn't gotten to resolve his Paranoid once. This match, it keeps getting cycloned. Mav not going to be able to draw 2 off the Offerings. I don't like, it just feels so bad. I know probably how Mav feels right now. The Offerings feel so good, and then it gets, then you have to skip your draw phase and it feels terrible. But down comes the Breaker. It's going to pop another Zoma from Mav. Just another +1 plus the 1600 damage. So we're now seeing 5 versus 3. Mav is down 2 cards now. And I believe he has to play through a Cosmic. That's what my money's on. You don't just set 2 back row as... I guess he does have Lost Wind, so maybe it's Lost Wind. Mav is thinking. Still thinking, what does he want to do? He's only got 3 cards, so he may not have as many plays as he thinks he has here. Why am I so tired? Alright, we're gonna try and speed this up here. Come on. There we go. Okay, so all that to see if he wants to Paranoid out. And there's the Cosmic Cyclone. It's gonna get banished. For the 3rd straight game, Mav does not get to bring down his Moth. That would have possibly have been game if he has a 2nd Moth in his hand. Or just the 1 Moth would have been lethal. I don't know if Connick would be able to stop it. But he does have an Exiled Force to clear the board of any face-up monsters. How many... So Connick still has multiple breakers here. Especially off that lure, he may have another, unless he has to banish his breaker. Because summoning breaker here is pretty decent. Getting able to punch for big damage. He's going to banish the Jinzo. The Jinzo's gone. He left it in for game 3, the Jinzo. I guess turning off the Zomas and the Shrines. What was his aim? Sets one's pass, no monster. Mav sets a monster. Wondering if that's maybe a bad play. I don't know. We'll see. Down comes the Breaker. Solely because summoning the monster here means the Santa Claus comes down. But yeah, if he's going to top deck through, I think he had to have top decked this. Otherwise, he would have summoned it last turn, I feel. So he top decks the Breaker now. And we'll see if he can swing into it. Connick thinking on something. Breaker could be swinging into a Zombina for a float. Nope, a pretty much dead Swordswoman. Not a good draw for Mav here. Will Mav see a Paranoid? Nope, another set. Connick, he has 6 cards. I feel like he's gotta have a Paranoid. Down comes Santa Claus. Down goes Mav Santa Claus. Could this be it? Zombina's in the grave, can't float. Down comes the Paranoid. That's guaranteed at least 2 attacks here. And Mav only has one card. He's gotta have a spear to stop the Moth. And it's not even gonna matter. There's a second Moth from Conic. Mav gets defeat. And is out of there. I guess Conic must have top decked that sphere. Or sorry, the Santa Claus that turn to be able to pop, or he got his play this turn. But double Moth Breaker, I guess you gotta admit, you're waiting for that play. We hadn't seen it from Conic at all the first two games, and then he finally sees it the third game, which is up there in terms of odds of what to expect from Moth. You know, once every 3 games, they're just gonna blow you out with a Santa Claus Paranoid double Moth Breaker play. So big congratulations to Conic. Again, I don't think he's ever topped one, so I guess we have another example of somebody who doesn't top one, and then the second they do, they go all the way and win the event. That is the 3rd time that this has happened. So if you are thinking about signing up for the winner boxes, I highly encourage you to, because we have many examples now at this point. It's almost, let's see, 11. So it's happened 3 times out of 11 winner boxes. That is more than 25% of the time the person who wins the event never topped previously. So very, I don't want to say beginner friendly, because Conic is not a beginner, but very high odds of your first top being a win. And then still, Maverick made it to the finals. I believe he finished 8-1 off with a very interesting deck. We did not get to see the Black Stego. I don't know if he signs it out for this matchup, but his deck list will be in the Hall of Victory along with Conic's and everybody else in the top 8's deck list. If you guys want to check that out, but he's got a Black Stego with Moth package. Very interesting. Anyways, congratulations again to Conic for his first Winnabox victory. Congratulations to Maverick for making this far with a very interesting deck. Better luck next time. He made it farther than he usually, again, like I said, I think he's only ever topped and then immediately gets eliminated in the first round. So big ups to him for making it to his first finals for the Speed Duel League. And yeah, after this, we are going to go ahead and get into the deck breakdown and then get into some of the decks that people played for this event. So stay tuned for that. All right, guys, we are here with our Winnabox number 11 deck breakdown. As I said earlier, we've got 41 people that came out for this tournament, and as always, we're going to be going from the bottom to the top. So at the bottom here, we've got Mav's Stego. Moth almost won the entire 8-1, I believe, or sorry, 7-1, right? 1, 2, 2, yeah, 7-1. Sorry, I might have said 8-1 during the finals match, but it was 7-1. 8 games total played. 5-1 in Swiss, and then the top 8 and the top 4. Or sorry, what am I talking about? 7-2. I can't do math, but 7-2. Not a bad. I might have said 8-1 or 7-1 during the finals match, but 7-2, not a bad showing at all. And then I've seen this before. So we've got this Stego Moth, where this was a Stego deck that the THEG members have been running for a while, and Mav basically just added the Moth package to it. We've seen that a lot done with Moth, where they simply add the package to an already established deck. We see here GK Moth, which we'll get to. We saw Warrior Moth. We've seen even weird things like Relinquished Moth. I've seen people add Moth to Serpent Knight Dragon, or sorry, not Serpent Knight Dragon. Is it Blue Eyes? I don't know. But adding the Moth package is a very, very common thing, and now, you know, stall decks have added it as well. So just kind of throwing the Moth package into already established builds, already established decks, and then just seeing if it sticks. So Stego Moth did really well this event. We've got SPA, always and forever, even in low numbers. Still not reaching the glory people thought it would be going into this format. We've also got Relinquish here, Harpies, Guardians of the Tomb, which I did like. I've seen some builds of that I think, you know, this deck might be on the rise here. Up and coming, we've got GK Moth rearing its head. Haven't seen that in quite a while. I think we have seen it maybe like last tournament or the tournament before that, but GK Moth used to be super popular about a year and a half ago. Whenever Moth first came out, that you would run Gravekeepers with the Gravekeeper Moth or Warrior Moth. But ever since, the Gravekeepers have just not been really that playable. Their monsters just aren't really relevant anymore. Maybe they'll get some support in the future and be relevant again. But we've got Blue Eyes. This is Cursive, still trying to make Blue Eyes deck work with the Paladin of White Dragon that we got from the Battle City box. Viral Despair, 3 people. That's still a decent number of people playing it. 3, to the whole. But I believe that so long as Dark Moth is around, or so long as Moth packages, I mean, we got 1, 2, 3, right, 8 Moths rolling around. That's 1 in every 5 decks is playing Moth pretty much. That just eats Vile Despair alive. They get the Moth out. So you definitely need some anti-Moth stuff to really make this work. Here's the Stego control that I was talking about. Mav's teammates run this version with the Twist personality and whatnot. But Mav, one of them did top though, so that is a decent. I think they just barely squeezed in with 4 and 2. But 1 top out of 3, not bad. We've got XYZ Unions all the way down here. I guess mostly off alphabetical order. It could be up here. It still was one of the most played decks. But 1 top, and then we've only got 4 people playing it though. TP Warriors, this is definitely an interesting one. 4 people playing it this time. Usually it sees 1 or 2, and then not only that, but we see 2 tops. I don't think we've seen 2 TP Warriors top in a very long time. So that's definitely very interesting. We've got Magnet Warriors. Just the 1 top, which I think is 1 top. Let's see. So we've got the biggest performances for Magnets have definitely been Stevie's, where he almost went undefeated, 8. Right. Yeah, 8 and 1. 2 Winnabox. I want to say 2 Winnabox. It might have been last. It might have literally been last Winnabox. I have bad memory. But Stevie's performance and then Art LeQuin's format winning. I want to say Winnabox number 5, which was right after the release of the Battle City box. Those are the 2 big Magnet Warrior performances since the deck has been a thing in Speed Duels. But here we've got another top. It's definitely just been a long time though since Magnets have looked really. Stevie and Art LeQuin have the 2 best performances. Other than that, it's pretty much nothing, despite the fact that it does always get a handful of people to come out and play it. So Icy Monarchs, we've got 5. Apprentice Monarchs, 5. Only 1 top between the 2 of them. Apprentice going 0 for 5. I don't know what's had. This was Apprentice Monarchs' time to shine these last couple Winnaboxes. A lot of people were turning to it with the return of Dark Moth, and it is just coming up short time and time again. 0 for 5. Icy Monarchs 1 for 5. Not terrible, I suppose. And then of course here at the top we've got Dark Moth, the most played deck, unfortunately, and it still pulled. It won the event. It did pull in 1 top, which is about in line with all the other decks. So Dark Moth, I guess, back on top for this Winnabox, winning it and being the most played deck. Kind of tough to talk about because so many decks were very, very close. 6, 5, and then 4s. So no 1 or 2 decks really standing out as being by far the most played. So nice, even distribution for this Winnabox. I think that might just be people kind of being a little bit bored with the format. Just been a while since we got some product, though. I think that the future is looking bright for Speed Duels, but it's been a while since the product, so maybe some people are branching out and trying decks they usually don't, or just trying to see if they can break the meta. And that might be why we're seeing 4 on TP Warriors and 2 tops. So definitely the Stego Moth in the finals, and TP Warriors with 2 of 4. Here are the 2 biggest takeaways from the event, and just the general nice distribution of decks. It doesn't look like 1 or 2 decks are being super oppressive and being the most played like we've seen in the past. But that's going to do it for this Winnabox, guys. Winnabox number 11. Congratulations again to Conic. If you would like to play in these Winnaboxes, the largest ongoing Speed Duel tournaments around the Speed Duel League Winnabox, you can sign up for the next one. It's going to be taking place very soon, within the next day and a half, I want to say. It starts this Saturday, July 3rd at 12 p.m. Central Daylight Time. That should be about a day and a half from the timing of this video. I know not a whole lot of time. If you join the Speed Duel Discord, you will get the announcements with a lot more time to sign up. But you can join the Speed Duel Discord and sign up for the Winnabox. Send me a deck list. Again, that starts this Saturday. The prize this time around, it's going to be the 1-year anniversary. We've been doing this for 12 months now. I may actually have to start calling these Winnaboxes by months instead of numbers. Like Winnabox July, Winnabox August, or something. But Winnabox number 12, it's the 1-year anniversary, so we are going to double the cash prize payout. You can still either get a booster box or $100 if you win, a sort of a little celebration for it being 1 year of Speed Duel winner boxes. Again, join the Speed Duel Discord to sign up for that, and just in general, join the Speed Duel Discord because it's the best place for all things Speed Duel. So, congratulations again to Conic for taking home his first win and it being a win-a-box. And I think that is it for Win-a-Box 11. So that wraps this up. Thank you guys all for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.